Hello NFL fans and welcome back to the Wall of NFL channel. Today I thought we could go over a few of the best college teammates that have ended up at the pros, specifically the quarterbacks and receivers. And I thought on this lovely day that would be the perfect thing to talk about in preparation for the 2022 season. Now these are my thoughts going into the 2022 season rather than in the past, so there's not going to be any old combinations. So let's get into it. I think the first one to start off with is a really good honorable mention. And of course, that is Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne. These two guys haven't played together yet in the NFL because Etienne had a pretty bad injury last year. And, well, it wouldn't have gone well anyway, seeing as Urban Meyer kind of messed up the Jaguars a bit last year, leading me to do a franchise mode. But these two guys, I'm sure, are going to have a fantastic career together. And I think that Trevor Lawrence dumping it off to Etienne out of the backfield and handing it off, and he's a fantastic receiving back. And I think the two of them are going to have an excellent career. I would have thought this similar to maybe Rivers and LaDainian Tomlinson for the Chargers, or, well, what I thought would be Drew Brees and LaDainian Tomlinson, seeing as they came out in the same year in the draft, just like Etienne and Lawrence did. But we'll have to wait and see if they could be anywhere near as good as those guys are. Obviously, all of them Hall of Famers. So let's get on to number 5, and that is Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith. I think these two guys are pretty decent. I don't know how good Smith is, considering Jalen Hurts is a running quarterback, and he hasn't been able to get to Smith a lot of the ball in last season, really. I mean, Jalen Hurts, he's done a fantastic job rushing the ball. He has 784 rushing yards, and it's meant that kind of the focus has gone away from Devonta Smith, and the run game has been excellent for the Eagles, but it's not been so good at the passing game. And I think with A.J. Brown coming into the passing game, that is going to make the Eagles' offense so much better. But that leaves Devonta Smith as the second wide receiver. So maybe they're not going to have quite the same impact as some of the other guys on this list. I think they go ahead of Etienne and Lawrence purely because they've had a season together and actually played together. But yeah, I think Etienne and Lawrence could replace them after one season under their belt, seeing as, Jalen Hurts runs the ball an awful lot. And, A.J. Brown, he's definitely the best receiver that the Eagles have at the moment, and maybe top 5 in the NFL as well. So I've gone backwards there, and forwards to number 4, Jalen Waddle and Tua Tangovilo. I think these two guys are fantastic for each other, but a very similar situation to Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith. So Waddle and Tua, Waddle's going to be the second receiver for the Miami Dolphins this year. They've just traded for Tyreek Hill for a big blockbuster trade, including 6 picks, including a first rounder to the Chiefs. In return, getting Tyreek Hill. And I think that means that Waddle's going to be second best receiver and is actually very similar play style to Tyreek Hill. Both of these guys receive the ball out of the backfield and in space and try and make plays with their legs, which I think is excellent for Tua, who doesn't quite have the range of passing that other quarterbacks do have. So I think that they're a great combination for each other, but Tyreek Hill's going to be the main guy there at the Miami Dolphins. So last season, they combined for 810 yards and 7 touchdowns in 12 games. Only 12 because there's been a few injuries, specifically on Tua's side. But I think they could have a really productive career together. And I mean, 810 yards for Waddle in his rookie season, it's not so bad. And he did make quite a good impact, I think, on the Dolphins last year. So then moving on to number 3. And this is where it goes another level above. And I think these next 3 are going to be a fantastic partnership for years to come. Who knows if Tua is going to be in a quarterback going forward, or Jalen Hurts, maybe in a few years' time, maybe their teams will move off them. But the next 3, they are elite quarterbacks with elite receivers. And the number 3 spot is Marquis Brown and Kyler Murray. These two guys are fantastic players. Marquis Brown had a career year last year with 91 catches, 1,008 yards and 6 touchdowns in a running offense, and there was no chance that he was going to get amazing stats in an offense with Lamar Jackson where they just basically run the ball like 60% of the time, which compared to the rest of the league is crazy. Most of the league are more pass heavy. They try and keep it around 50-50 run to pass, but a lot of teams are starting to throw the ball an awful lot now. And with Kyler Murray, he's going to be airing it out so much more than Lamar Jackson, and that is going to play right into Marquis Brown's hands. He's a really fast, speedy receiver. He's really difficult to cover, and he gave the Ravens a really good option last year, other than running the ball, and Lamar Jackson keeping the ball and running himself as well. So I think these two guys are going to pair really well. Both of them from Oklahoma, and I mean, Kyler Murray was a leading MVP candidate up until Thanksgiving, or well, until his injury around week 9, I think it was. But these two guys are going to light the league on fire next year. I mean, Marquis Brown could be the number 2 receiver, seeing as DeAndre Hopkins is there, but Hopkins has 6-game suspension due to PED use, performance-enhancing drugs, and so I think that Marquis Brown and Kyler Murray are going to get a really good connection starting off in the year. I mean, the Cardinals are brilliant starting each season, so I think that these two guys are going to have a great connection. And then when Hopkins comes in, maybe the connection might dwindle a little bit. But I mean, he's such a good receiver, and they've got such a good partnership at Oklahoma. I think that could definitely transfer into the NFL, and these two guys could be together for the rest of their careers now potentially. I mean, Kyler Murray has definitely solidified himself as an elite quarterback, and maybe this is the year for Marquis Brown to say, yes, I'm an elite wide receiver as well. So then, moving on to number 2, this is possibly one of the most anticipated teammates partnership in the NFL this year. Davante Adams, the best receiver in the league, in my opinion, and Derek Carr, who's definitely an elite quarterback. Definitely top 10 quarterback, maybe even top 8, 7. I don't know. There are some great quarterbacks in the league, but Derek Carr is definitely one of them. Davante Adams and Derek Carr, as you can see on the screen, played for Fresno State, and they had a fantastic friendship and partnership. And Derek Carr says to this day that Davante Adams is the best wide receiver he's ever played with. And I mean, well, he's the best wide receiver that most players have played with, seeing as he is the best in the league currently. It did take him a few years to get to be that good, but I'm sure Aaron Rodgers really helped him to be the best that he can be. But I think that these two guys are going to have a really great career together. And it was actually revealed, I think, by Derek Carr on a podcast that Davante Adams has been trying to move to the Raiders for his whole career so far, just so these guys, who apparently are best friends as well, can play together once again. Davante Adams had 1,553 yards. That's it. I got it right in the end. 123 catches and 11 touchdowns in 16 games. And those are phenomenal stats, only beaten by Cooper Kupp, who went on to win Offensive Player of the Year and Super Bowl MVP as well. So Davante Adams is clearly a phenomenal receiver, and adding Davante Adams alongside Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller as well, the Raiders' offense is going to be seriously good. And Derek Carr, every single year, seems to get better and better and better. So these two guys are definitely going to be ones to watch out for in the 2022 season. So this moves us on to the number 1 quarterback and wide receiver combination in the NFL that played in college as well. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it seems to be a really popular trend at the moment, and it's definitely going to keep going if Ja'Marr Chase and Joe Burrow continue to work their magic, and their partnership has been unreal so far. They've only had 1 season together, and Joe Burrow, he had a terrible injury in Week 10 in 2020, and now that Ja'Marr Chase has come into it as well, these two guys have been phenomenal together. They took the Bengals all the way to the Super Bowl, and man, they have been impossible to stop so far. They've beat the Chiefs twice, the Titans, the Raiders, and I'm missing someone as well. They beat the Titans, Raiders, Chiefs twice, and someone else as well. Oh well, I can't find it right now. But honestly, these two guys have been impossible to stop. Ja'Marr Chase has 1,429 yards and 13 touchdowns. And honestly, if you give him the ball anywhere on the field, he can turn it into a touchdown. He torched the Ravens twice last year, and they were just catching slants and then bouncing off defenders, and no one could stop him. It was phenomenal to watch. And of course, as I said already, they took the Bengals to the Super Bowl, and they were honestly unbelievable. He torched Jalen Ramsey as well in the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, he didn't manage to get the ball an awful lot, but he made some huge plays. And I mean, without Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and that connection, they would never have gotten as far as they did. So these two guys are definitely the best in the NFL right now. I think that Davante Adams and Derek Carr could definitely take over, but they haven't played together yet. So I can't put them quite at number one just yet. But these two guys definitely deserve to be in that shout. So now I thought we'd move on to some of the news that's been going on around the NFL this week. There's not been an awful lot going on, but I think what we've got to talk about is Minkah Fitzpatrick and his massive safety, record-breaking contract for any safety, and he's the highest paid safety in the NFL now. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have tied him up for a good few years. And I think it's a pretty good decision that they've made. I mean, safeties aren't the most crucial position in the NFL, but Minkah Fitzpatrick, from the moment he got moved to the Steelers, he's been a real difference maker, catching multiple interceptions, forcing fumbles, and I mean, the Steelers have been one of the best defenses around in the last couple of decades. And last year, thanks to Minkah Fitzpatrick and some of their other players as well, he has been fantastic. I mean, TJ Watt on their team has a bigger contract, has a bigger, he won Defensive Player of the Year, but that can't take away from Minkah Fitzpatrick and his excellence on the field so far in his career. And no wonder he got traded. No wonder the Steelers traded for him 2 years ago. Okay, so that I think brings us down to the end of the news section as well. So I just wanted to give a shout out to those of you who are in the chat. Francis Ferguson, thank you so much for coming back. It's good to see you again after my short break and after we won the Super Bowl with the Jaguars on a Madden 22 franchise mode. It's good to see you. Yeah, I think that's about it. Francis, unless you have anything else to add, if you want to make any comments about my list, guys, put down your lists, who you think the best are. Maybe you think Davante Adams, Derek Carr are already the best college to pro, quarterback to receiver combination in the NFL. So already, and they haven't even thrown and Derek Carr hasn't even thrown a pass to Davante Adams yet. But either way, comment down below, hit like and subscribe. Head to wallofnfl.com, and all the links are in the description for the social media pages. I've got to say thank you so much again for watching. And yeah, let me know what you think.